Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind, these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as, investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. Alright folks, I wanted to talk today about finding plays. I get this question a lot, how do you find plays? And so today I'll cover a few of the more straightforward ways, and then we'll go ahead and make some future videos talking about additional ways. But this I think should be pretty sufficient for finding plays pretty consistently, both to the upside and the downside. I will also preface this by saying that I do think a big component of this is going to be to make sure that you get yourself into a situation where you can clearly understand charting and knowing where support and resistance levels are, knowing what the trend of a given stock is, because it can be one thing to identify a potential play, but if you can't decipher the price action, then you're probably going to have a really hard time turning that opportunity into realized gains. So I would just say that these are just going to be a bunch of ideas, right? But you need to be able to decipher when a trade is worth getting into based on your risk to reward, and when it goes bust and you need to stop loss, or when it's going well and you should let it ride, or when you should lock in profit. And those things, to my mind, are going to come from you knowing how to chart and how to understand price action. I have a really recent video that I put in my stock mini courses, or whatever it's called, trading and investing mini courses playlist on my channel, talking about how to decipher price action. I would say if you don't know where else to start there and see what sort of like speaks to you. And you can look up tons of articles, tons of videos on how to chart and how to find support resistance, especially, I think. Okay, so screeners and scanners, that's the first one. I use them interchangeably. I don't know if there's a difference between a screener and a scanner, but this, for example, is the Webull desktop app. I'm pretty sure you can use this for free. I have a small amount of money in my Webull account, but I think that you can use it. I think that you can use their charting and their screeners and stuff even if you don't have a funded account. I could be wrong. If somebody knows for sure, you can leave a comment below. But this is what I do all of my charting on. Like if you see, my charts that I go through on any of my other videos, like it's using this. So they have a screener section here, and you can essentially set this up however you want. So, I would look in the US, I would look at all of the exchanges, would be fine for me. And then, you can look for certain market caps. If you want to just look at small caps, you could drag this back here and say I only want these, these criteria. If you want just larger caps, you can figure out what that is. But you could say I just want something with at least $3 billion market cap and up, whatever it is. And then you can come in and look for different filters, right? You don't have to look by market cap. You could say I want stocks that fall into this price range. You could say I want stocks that have gone through this percentage change, that have this much volume. Or you could do like a combo of a bunch of these, right? So that's the advantage here, is you can set up a bunch of different criteria, right? So we could say these ones are kind of interesting to me. So reasonable market caps, prices maybe $10 or above. I don't know, $10 to $50, something like that. And then volume. I really like volume over 1 million. That's for sure. But that's just me. So in any case, this gets us 186 matches. Now I can also look at, then down here, technical indicators, analyst ratings, or what's marginable based on the broker. So if I wanted to look at technical indicators, I could look for ones that have a MACD golden cross. That gets me down to 26 matches, right? And then I could come in here and I could just click into Carnival and say, okay. And then I could go through and look at my chart, plot out some stuff, what have you, and go from there and see if there seems to be a play there or not. I can look for any that are oversold on the RSI. I can look for MA5 crossing over the 10. right? So bullish crossovers, hottest stocks. I don't exactly know what that criteria is. But these are different screeners that you can use that will just sort of give you a bunch of opportunities. You can play with these different filters, and this is going to look different on different platforms, different tools, but the ideas should be relatively the same. And you might have a screener or a scanner that has many more options than this. But to me, this typically services well enough. Also here, if you just go to the markets page, another way to look for plays is to just see top gainers of the day, top losers of the day, most active, right? This is all about where's the volume. And you can look at percentage turnover in the day, percent range. So just like these free tools can give a ton of different opportunities. Another way to look for possible plays, 52-week highs. Who's near a high, right? Or who reached a new high? Especially if they're going into strength and the chart still looks good, there might be a play there. Who's made a new low, new 52-week low, near 52-week lows, right? Is there a play to be had there, either to more downside or for a possible reversal? That's where you need to get your charting to a place that works really well for you, because this is just going to surface things that fit different criteria. You then have to go in and be able to decipher the chart. So to me, that's a matter, that's a fundamental requirement that you should get your head around and get a good grasp of. All this other stuff of just finding plays, that's pretty easy. Those things can just be served up to you. Popular stocks here, right? This is going to show you a bunch of different high dividend stocks, earnings beyond expectations, earnings below expectations. There's earnings counters. You can look for upcoming plays from earnings, upcoming plays for dividends, all of this stuff. So there's all of these different sort of filters and scanners and screeners and stuff like that. So I would just say, seek out a tool. If you're unsure what to use, go for the Webull desktop app. Again, especially if you can use it with an unfunded account, it's totally free to you. Again, if that's true, I don't know. And then coming over here, the other place that I look in sort of the community realm is on Twitter. So I try to follow folks who I think are interesting and offer a different perspective than what I do. I'm pretty heavy into charts, and I do follow a few people that are also heavy into charts, but that's just, again, so that maybe they're seeing something, because everyone falls into sort of a lull, right? Or sort of a natural rhythm, and they sort of get used to looking at the same, who knows what it is, 20 stocks, 100 stocks, whatever it is. And sometimes you get sort of blinders into the rest of the world. But here's another scanner stream. So this person, Ripster47, if you want to look him up on Twitter, every morning he puts out this live stream that just live streams on YouTube. And you can zoom in to see what this is, but these are screeners for pullback, longer short, opening power, halts and resumes, low float runners, momentum movers. So low float, and you can just pay attention to what sort of speaks to you. And this thing, if I hit play, this is just running in real time. This is live. So really impressive. Really nice that he just puts this out here and just streams it. But that's just an available tool to you. Here's some of the folks that I follow. I'll go up to the new tweets here on my notifications. Unusual Whales. I think Unusual Whales will send out a bunch of different stuff from Flow. They'll send out a bunch of different news items, right? So that's where the catalysts come into play too. Following people who are good at picking out catalysts. I'm not typically. I'm pretty poor at deciphering the news cycle and playing the news. So I look for additional notes from people in here. But right, here's a ticker. This is a ticker I could go look at. New all-time high. Rips are talking about Tesla and sharing charts. Unusual Whales. We just happened to click on Carnival, right? Because it came up on our scanner. They're talking about some possible trades here. These are just free, right? They have a paid service, but this is just free. TrendSpider, it's another good one. There are a cool charting software that actually I want to try sometime soon. But they share a bunch of charts, right? AMC, and they'll talk about like where things are potentially headed, like what potential setups look like. So if you're not super good with charts, like, and this might be a good one for you to subscribe to, or to get notifications from, or to check in on, because they'll offer you that, just in their tweets. So that's another good one in my opinion. But find who speaks to you, find who sort of compliments you well. There's another one, Stock Sniper. It's a lot of I think momentum plays and stuff like that. That's why I also follow that crazy Zach Morris account, because sometimes it's interesting to see what momentum plays are out there. I rarely play those anymore, but it still is interesting to see what comes up. This person, Ray TL _, has interesting watch lists that are shared. See, Unusual Whales puts out breaking news. So again, if you're looking for news cycle and catalyst stuff, Manpreet is a really good one. Be careful when you're finding these, because these folks end up with a lot of impersonators, making accounts that look exactly like this, but just with a slight variation in the name or something. But in any case, these are all FarmD. If you want to look for good, like Pharma, I know like they also send out some other ones, right? Not that those are alerts or anything, but really good Pharma insights from that person, from that account. But yeah, these are the ones that I tend to look at, and of course take everything with a grain of salt. But in terms of like finding potential plays, these are just tickers, right? This is just a byproduct of finding tickers that you can then go look at. It sort of like gets you out of your tunnel vision, get you away from your blind spot. Says, oh, I could check that out, I could check that out, I could check that out. This is super, super not to say if this person tweets about a bus that you should definitely go buy it. That's a really bad trap to get into, because then you're relying on somebody else's decisions for your money, for your trades that you're making with your money, and you're not creating any repeatable process there. It's not a good repeatable process to just say so and so tweeted it out and I take the position and that's my process. Guess what? If that person goes away one day or something happens, then what are you going to do? You're going to go try to find another person who happens to put out good plays? I mean, it's just a bad trap to fall into. Learn the skills. Learn how these people find these things, right? Learn how to take just sort of like a nugget, like AAL, blah, 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 BA, and then go look at the chart and make decisions for yourself. But in terms of just finding potential plays, these are the things that I look for. Community, which I primarily use Twitter. I know some folks use like stock twits and stuff too. Screeners, which, over here, there's a ton of different ways to get at scanners and screeners. You can do actual screener, but you can also just do this market tab. And then catalyst. So looking at, the news that's coming up. I rely on the community to also serve up the news. Again, because I'm not good at just sort of scanning for news and trying to decipher those things. So I kind of double dip on community there. I look for people in the community, like in Twitter, that also are really good at sending out valuable info on news and news cycle kind of stuff. So to me, that's like Manpreet, that's that FarmD Twitter handle, Unusual Whales. These to me are really good accounts, but find what you think is really good. What sort of strikes me as useful might not strike you as useful, but this is how I look for plays. I don't really know how to end this. That's what I do to try to go find different tickers. And hopefully this is helpful to some folks who are just curious about how to locate like anything that could have potential. But again, it's going to be up to you learning how to understand price action, understand catalysts, understand how to chart, understand levels, and how to take good entries and make good exits and all of that sort of thing. And know when a play is going bust and know when a play is booming and how to act accordingly. Those things are still going to be fundamentally required of you, even if you have ticker symbols thrown at your face, throughout the day. All right, folks, I hope that this was helpful to some degree, and I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video.